Hi, everybody. Well, you can tell the weather's starting to get a little chillier when I put my sweatshirts on. And I'm not outside. I could be outside, but it looks like it might rain a little bit. Anyway, I was thinking about the tens of millions of people who are changing their households right now, and that's not counting all of those who've lost their households because of the forest fires, the climate fires on the West Coast. And our hearts go out to them. We continue to pray for them. You know, between the fires and COVID, and for some people, political events and protests, I think we're going to have a lot of cases of PTSD over the next 10 to 15 to 20 years. It breaks my heart. I'm certain it breaks God's heart, and God weeps with us. But on a less dire basis, I'm changing my household again. And many of you do. I don't care if we're still affiliated with schools or we've moved beyond schooling in our lives, and we don't have children or grandchildren. You know, many of us still see our year as running from September through June. You know, it did for such a large part of our lives. Certainly, if you are dealing with young children and sending them to school or not sending and doing hybrid education or electronic education at home, you're having to make changes in your household. If you are a worker who is fortunate enough to still have a job and you're able to do it from your home, changes have to be made in your home. In our case, we have a college student in her 20s, and so we've had to make changes here to accommodate both of us Zoom meetings at the same time. And she has to have her space to do her research as well as her class time, and as do I. So we're making changes and figuring out what furniture needs to stay. And, you know, we really don't need that anymore. And we're setting up some times now to talk about, Mom, why is this important to you? Why does this thing speak to you? Do we need to keep this one, or can we let this go? And some of it has to do with the fact that she needs to be establishing her own household right now, and she can't because of COVID. But there's another part of it, too, and that's just that you've seen, many of you, if you've been watching for a while, you've seen my house that I own this double and rent the upstairs. And our unit on the first floor is smaller because of the staircase and other things that are carved out of our space. So we really only have about, 850, maybe 900 square feet in our unit. And it's 2-bedroom. So we have to figure out what will work and what won't and what we can discard. And it's prompting a lot of discussion. At first, it was heated discussion until we both realized what was going on. And that's that we have a different sense of our home. And so now communication is at the fore, and we are talking about, as I said, different items. And can this one go into storage in the cellar, or can we give this one away? And how do you feel about each of these things? And I know that people are doing that across the country during this time. And it got me thinking about how we need to be doing that on a regular basis. And we often don't, because it's easier not to. Or we wait until there's some catastrophic event that prompts us to do that. Or we stick with everything until we are ready to downsize and move into, maybe the kids are gone, or you're retiring and you're moving into a retirement community, or something like that prompts us to do these changes. But still, these are things that we should be doing on a regular basis, and that includes not just our physical space of where we live, but also, our mental space and things that we hold on to as far as beliefs or opinions, feelings about certain things, associations with them. It also pertains to intellectual things that we hold on to. I mean, the facts that I learned in chemistry and in college in the 1970s, oh, those would be all updated. I found that out with my cancer surgery because I'd had one mastectomy 18 years ago and another one just, actually on about 8 weeks ago, so 8 or 9 weeks ago. There were big changes between what was done 18 years ago and what was done this year. So we have to keep changing and making room for the new. And in order to do that, we have to let go of some of the old or transform, change in some way, invite to grow what had already been there before. And I'm curious to ask you how you're doing that with your spiritual life. Now, many people I talk with, many of you and others who don't watch this, they tell me that their spiritual life has never been deeper. Great. That's a wonderful thing, especially for a little pastor's heart to hear. But in order to do that, I know that we have to change some of our earlier opinions or associations, or maybe even unlearn some things that we learned as a child, and supplement it with more recent, up-to-date, pertinent information that applies to our lives today. Can you think of a few things where that's been true for you about your belief system? Maybe if you were Christian in your teens and 20s, maybe you've changed denominations. Maybe you weren't Christian and now you are, or you were and now you're not. Maybe you are Christian plus. Maybe you're Jewish and you're not Christian at all, but the same thing could have happened. Maybe you have moved within Judaism to a new place. Maybe you have moved within Islam to new understandings. Maybe you are Jewish and Buddhist. I know some people who practice both, or Christian and Buddhist. Maybe your household has more than one faith. My daughter really embraces one or two of the Hindu deities. They really speak to her, and they have for years. I mean, we're talking probably 5 or 6 years now. How have you grown and how have you changed? And why did that happen? And what speaks to you now? And maybe what doesn't speak to you now is even more important. What is it that you are not getting from your faith life, your spirituality, maybe from organized religion? Maybe you didn't used to be involved in a church and now you are. Or maybe you were and now you're not. You want nothing to do with it. Why is that? How are you changing? So what it boils down to is, how would you express your faith statement today? I don't mean a big, long, 5-page thing. Are there 3 or 4 sentences that express what is important to you about your faith today, where you are in your life right now? And what are those beliefs? As hokey as it may sound, I urge you to write them down. Put pen to paper. It feels different and it is processed differently than fingers to keyboard. Put pen to paper and write down just, maybe 3 sentences, more if you want, of what you believe. And it will help you to understand how your internal spiritscape, like landscape, your spiritscape has changed over time. That ought to keep you busy for the day, don't you think? All right, everybody. That's your assignment for tomorrow. Thank you for joining me for this prayerful pause with the pastor. I'm Pastor Deb Swift of South Presbyterian Church in Rochester, New York. If you'd like to hear more of our daily meditations, check out our YouTube channel, which is South Church Rochester. You can learn more about us as a congregation in the PCUSA through our website. You'll find that address on the end slide of this video. And remember, just keep working at your faith. Spend a few moments to think of something greater than yourself, and you'll be surprised how, over time, those little steps make a big difference. Clear out the house. It's good. It feels good. It lets the air blow through and refresh what it is that you believe. All right, everybody. God bless. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.